2.5-inch height advantage for Wright. 2.5-inch arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, and that could be significant as he's the boxer and Hernandez is going to have to try to go to war against him. They both weighed in at the division limit of 154. Wright putting on 9 pounds overnight to get to 163. Hernandez, a 12-pound gain unofficially on our HBO scale, up to 166. And Wright said, Hernandez is going to come at me like a little bull. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Winky Wright on Hernandez fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules. Jim, real quick, the 4 criteria that the judges will use to score each individual round: clean punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense, with a strong emphasis on clean, effective punching. Jim.
Well, there's a look at Angel Hernandez. Left the tiny village in Mexico at age 17, moved to Chicago. He was 18 when he walked into a gym in Chicago and took up boxing for the first time. The very first week that he got into amateur boxing, he was entered into a tournament and made it all the way to the semifinals because of his super aggressive come-forward style. Says he was born to do this, but so far hasn't developed the technique to go with his natural aggression, and therefore has become one of those ongoing warriors without extreme cachet in the 154-pound weight class. Got a chance to make a bigger name for himself here if he can go in and do some damage against the very difficult Winky Wright. Originally from San Luis Potosi, Mexico. He's won 26 and lost 4 with 16. Stomping grounds, and of course you may remember his 1999 battle in Lincoln City, Oregon against Fernando Vargas, which many ringside observers felt Wright should have won, but in which Vargas got a very close majority decision. Now let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the action continues here at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino of Las Vegas, as Square Ring and the Motion Picture Matrix Revolutions present a World Championship bout sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. This contest presented in association with Banner Promotions and Hits Boxing. If we go to the scorecards for a decision, the scoring will be done at ringside by the following judges: Adelaide Bird, Valerie Dorset, and Chuck Jampa. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Tony Weeks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay of Las Vegas, 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with white. His official weight, 154 pounds. His professional record, 26 victories, including 16 knockouts with 4 defeats. He's originally from San Luis Potosi, Mexico, but now living and fighting out of the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, the number 6 ranked challenger in the world, Angel El Toro Hernandez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue, trimmed with silver, and officially weighing in at 154 pounds also. His professional record, 45 victories, including 25 knockouts with only 3 defeats. From St. Petersburg, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, presenting the IBF Junior Middleweight Champion of the World, Winky Wright.
Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay, right here is good, anything else is going to be low. Right here is good, anything else is going to be low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times, above all, protect yourselves at all times. Ready? Ready. Ready? Let's go.
The fulcrum of Winky Wright's career was a decision not to take a fight against Shane Mosley when Mosley was coming off of his first big victory over Oscar De La Hoya, and Wright had a chance to step up and fight him. He didn't like the money, ultimately turned down the fight. Vernon Forrest stepped in and took the opportunity, and you know what happened after that. Winky still says he thinks he made the right decision, but frankly, he'd have a much bigger name in the sport had he fought Mosley, win or lose.
Winky's got the height advantage and the reach advantage, and he's got to make certain he take advantage of it.
And the defensive skill advantage and the style advantage, or so it would seem. So Hernandez is going to have to make this a war, by his own admission, to have a chance.
When you're fighting a southpaw, you got to be real liberal with that right hand. You just can't hold it back. Let it go. You'll never miss them. Even if you do miss, you'll hit the glove.
Hernandez pawing with straight rights. Hasn't gotten off a straight right with authority yet, but Wright has gotten off some straight lefts with authority.
Has a straight right, lead right hand.
And there's an uppercut that Hernandez throws well, and that lands on Winky's chin. Now everybody says they're going to go after Wright's body, but Winky makes that tough because he's so adept at putting the elbows down to guard the ribcage.
Boy, when you go in training to fight a southpaw, you got to spend hours on that punching bag just throwing lead right hand. Hours. So that thing doesn't get tired once you get in the fight. Hernandez is in that position, but if you're going to run out of gas throwing right hands, you're in trouble.
Wright blocking the right hand tries by Hernandez in the prior assault. Now Hernandez gets one through. Winky comes back throwing 3 punches of his own. Blocking again the right hand swing. If you watch Winky carefully, you'll see the defensive skills that make him so tough. Likes to come forward with his hands up, blocking and fending off punches. Then once you stop, he starts.
Good body punches by Hernandez. You're not going to get the head, this guy's so tall, you just got to concentrate on the body. Sooner or later, if you hurt him, he'll lower his head for you.
Wright landing a straight right across the top. Winky seems determined to make his jab effective, despite the southpaw versus conventional fighter confrontation. Hernandez landed a couple straight right hands, but hasn't really found an angle yet against Wright.
Well, you know what? He's awkward enough to throw right off as well.
Well,
Winky has not been able to get his little strategy going at all, too. Sometimes these guys, you consider them inferior as far as boxing skill, and they'll get you.
You're getting tired. There he is already, huh? Keep the pace on him. Gotta go to the body. Right. Quick up top, strong underneath. Look for the body. Look for the body. But be first. Don't stand still when you're blocking. Breathe. Like
Don't stay on the outside. Get inside. When he throws a jab, hit him in the belly. Body punches. Okay, when he throws that left, right. Yeah, don't stay in the outside. He's got the advantage. You got to go inside, but throwing a lot of punches. Okay, get loose. You're not boxing as you're supposed to.
Winky Wright is the promotional property of Roy Jones's Square Ring Promotions. He took up with Jones after having been frustrated in his relationships with a variety of other promoters in the sport, including the biggest names, Don King, Bob Arum.
No. One thing for sure, Jim, Don King and Bob Arum wouldn't be paying Winky Wright the kind of money that Roy Jones is, some upwards of $500,000 for this fight. I've talked to some boxing people who say that on the open market, Winky Wright might be a $200,000 fighter. So he's getting subsidized in a kind of generous way by Roy Jones.
Why?
Well, in part because Roy Jones sees himself as a promoter someday, and also because he's a saint of left-handed causes, including his pal Smoke Gaynor, and now Winky Wright, neither of whom ever built a good fan base to get the kind of major fights that they thought they should have.
CompuBox numbers in round one. Wright 18 out of 57. Hernandez 6 out of 66. Wright was able to land 13 of his 46 jabs over the shorter Hernandez's right hand in round, or left hand in round one. Good chopping right inside by Winky Wright. Hernandez has done a better job in this round of getting up in his chest.
I think it's good, Hernandez, what he did. Winky came in not expecting much, and you can really get him.
Yeah, Hernandez lands 2 straight right hands, and the crowd begins to come alive as it's clear that Hernandez isn't going to go away.
One thing about good fighters, sometimes they take guys with lesser records, different parts of the country for granted, and they get into a fight and they haven't prepared for that fight.
Coming from Chicago, he's a little bit reminiscent of Jesus Chavez, Jim, who also had a similar background, coming from Mexico to Chicago and becoming this kind of balls-to-the-wall fighter.
Now fighting out of Austin, Texas, and we're going to see him a little bit later on, right?
Right, and he's going to be fighting Morales in what could be a very tough fight for the former featherweight champion.
And for his part, Hernandez says, yeah, I know Chavez. We've been in the same gyms in Chicago sometimes.
Below the belt a few times.
The referee was on the other side of the two fighters and didn't catch it.
It's fun to talk to Hernandez, who came to America at 17 and speaks a brand of fractured English that he says, I learned in the streets and in the gym. So he talks boxing talk all the time. It's the English language that he knows.
I like it. Good.
Jones Jr. He's had as many wins in title fights as Tarver has had fights. Power punches in round two, CompuBox count. Wright 16 out of 47. Hernandez 18 out of 81. Hernandez isn't going to worry too much about the connect percentage. He just wants to get inside and throw something. In second round, he was effective in doing it.
Hernandez let the distance fall between the guys, and he gets the worst of it. When the fight is close, he's better.
This is somewhat reminiscent of Wright's last assignment here against J.C. Candelo, who, like Hernandez, came willing to fight, threw a lot of punches, didn't back up. At the end of the night, lost a decision, but had given an account of himself. Good hard left hand by Wright. Sticks the jab in Hernandez's face. Hernandez smiling. One of those fighters who seems to say, hit me, I don't expect anything else.
Both of them seem to have abrasions under their left eye, and left eye for Wright, right eye for Chavez. I'm sorry, Hernandez.
Hernandez is really confident in his left hook to the body. Takes the wind out of Winky Wright every now and then.
Hard right to the body by Hernandez.
Come on, hands free, hands free. Hands
Another hard right hand to the body by Hernandez.
And a little below the body, below the belt.
Well, that's good if you can get away with it. Tony Weeks was blocked.
That's good with the referee when you fight in the southpaw and the right-hander. You don't know which side to stay on and look out for.
Now, Winky Wright knew what he was facing here, but seems slightly to have been taken off guard by Hernandez's unbridled aggression.
Ooh, that left hook to the body again.
Popping right hand upstairs by Wright. Wright doing most of his work to the face and the jawline of Angel Hernandez. Hernandez doing most of his good work to the body.
He throws a good left hook to the side. Doesn't matter how tough you are, you can get him with the body shots. And as you, with those body shots, you can see Winky Wright starting to lean down a little into the range of Hernandez's punches. Keep throwing to the body, and the tall guys will lean down to you. You don't have to reach up to them.
Let's look ahead to an upcoming pay-per-view boxing event.
It's boxing's biggest night ever. They say it's a blockbuster. That New York is one of the hottest fighters. That Hopkins is nearly impossible to...
Trainer is Lee Espinoza out of Coachella, California. You've seen him in the past as the trainer of the Diaz brothers, Antonio Diaz and Julio Diaz, both of whom have appeared here on HBO.
Yeah, and he's been a late substitute for the trainer that was with Hernandez all his career when Sam Colonna, and it was over money.
Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, I think this is a very close fight. 29-28, 2 rounds to 1. Ronald Winky Wright. You know, Jim, I gave Angel Hernandez the second round. He landed the harder power shots. He certainly deserved it. But I got to tell you something, Jim. Winky Wright, you got to give him credit for defense. We always talk about defense. Judges don't score for defense. He keeps his arms up high, his elbows in tight. The shots land on his gloves. The only way to get to him is to turn a hook under his elbow.
Hands free.
But Hernandez has been able to turn the hook under his elbow a half dozen times.
The left hook has been effective in that area. Now Winky decided he better put in some body punching.
Some fighters go round after round without landing a thing against Winky. Hernandez has been able to do better than that. On the other hand, Wright continues to land at a significantly higher connect percentage. And continues to find openings where Hernandez isn't able to find them.
It takes a lot of energy. That's what I said about in the gym. You got to spend hours on that punching bag with the right hand. Hernandez is getting a little winded because he's having to use one side of his body more than he was accustomed to in the gym.
What do you mean by that, George?
You see with Winky Wright, he's landing a lot of lead, follow-up right hand. And in the gym, generally a right-hander jabs a lot. It's the closest punch to the man. You're going to fight those southpaws, that right hand's got to be in better shape. And when you throw it a lot like that, you'll get tired.
So So you use the right hand more than you would against a conventional fighter, and it
Which
has.
means you got to spend hours on the punching bag throwing nothing but right hand, nothing but right hand. And some guys, when they get in the ring and throw too many of them, they're about to faint. He doesn't miss when he throws it. Lead right hand with it. Ooh, right to the body.
Yeah, Angel Hernandez continues to fire away and try to land punches anywhere and everywhere he can. He's throwing between 90 and 100 punches per round.
You see with Winky Wright, you can't miss him with a right hand. Lead right hand, you can't miss him. How many do you have in the bank?
Hard left hand by Wright. Hernandez's right hand partially blocked. Keeps coming, though.
There we go.
And Winky kind of smiles and pats him on the butt. As if to say, you're a tough little bull.
Throw the right hand over the punch. Yeah. You want to win this fight, though? You gotta do what I'm telling you, but with fierceness. You gotta use some energy there. Come on, Scott.
You gotta work inside. Stop holding him around. Come on. Relax. You got this, guy. Just be smart. Yeah. Keep your hands up. Fight out of your rhythm and turn them after a combination. You're frustrating the hell out of me. Watch, Mike. Let me get a one. All right, he's all yours. Use your left hand more. Use your left hand more. All right? He's all yours.
In round 4, CompuBox finds Hernandez throwing 76, landing 16. All of them power shots, of course. He's pretty much dispensed with the jab, except as a potential rangefinder. Wright was 15 out of 68. Fight may be getting closer.
All right, stop. I got you.
I'm surprised Winky Wright hasn't just stood out there and used his jab, skills. He's made it into a real fight.
Wright is hoping that his next fight will be against 160-pound kingpin Bernard Hopkins. It'll be interesting to see if Wright's technicianship and skill will be enough to overcome Hopkins' greater strength and punching power.
Be a good idea for him to win this fight first.
Yep, and that's no guarantee at this point.
Double left hook by Hernandez.
No, I got you. Come on, watch the push.
He's getting more confident as he goes along. Uppercut by Hernandez. Wright pops him with a counter right hand on the chin.
Hernandez has got to be saying how easy it is to hit this guy with right hand leads. Yet, I didn't prepare for that in the gym.
Boxing continues to evolve. 2 out of 3 judges for this fight are women. Not a particularly easy fight to score so far. Open to interpretation. Easy to see who the better boxer is, but Hernandez has been able at times to make it a fight. Like there.
Bobby Hitch from Chicago is starting to bring on a lot of good fighters in town.
You know, if you can take a punch and throw from all angles, you'll be trouble for anybody.
And that's what Hernandez is doing, too.
Exactly right. He can take a punch and he can throw from all angles. Which was exactly the case, incidentally, for J.C. Candelo, the taller guy who Wright fought the last time and who split 2 fights with Hernandez. This has been another good round for Angel Hernandez, who's been able to find Winky.
Can't miss him with a straight right hand.
Round 5 coming to a close. Earlier, you saw Roy Jones entering the arena. Just minutes ago, referee Kenny Bayless gave him final instructions.
fight is going to be governed by the unified rules, which means that there is no standing 8 count, there's no 3 knockdown rule, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Now, Roy, I want you to keep all your punches up and in front of the man. No low blows, no rabbit punches, no kidney punches. In the event of a knockdown, the fighter standing is to go to the furthest neutral corner and stay there, or the corner I tell you to go to and stay there. While I'm working on the down fighter, if you decide to drift out, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to put you back, and it's going to give him more time to recover. If your mouthpiece comes out, you keep fighting, and as soon as the action slows down, I'll call time. Get the mouthpiece over to Mr. Murkerson. He will clean it off and insert it back in your mouth without any instructions. Now, when you're working inside.
Biggest fight of Kenny Bayless' developing referee career, and you can tell that he's into it.
What a speech.
He is into it.
Good instructions.
Kenny is a rising referee here in Vegas. It's a big night for him tonight. Power in 5. CompuBox numbers. Hernandez 28 out of 75. Wright 13 out of 39. And Wright landing only 8 of 36 jabs. Harold Letterman still giving the round to Wright, but that round could show up on some scorecards in Hernandez's column, is my guess.
It did on mine.
There you go.
See the lead right hands, he's using it like a jab, Hernandez is.
See how unruffled he is by the clean shots that Winky gets off with the left hand? But there's a hard right hand that seems momentarily to rob Hernandez of his balance, although he keeps on coming. Wright seems to feel as though that last round wasn't his best, and he wants to make a statement in the first minute of this round.
You're right, Jim. I think he senses that he may be out-hustled in some of these rounds. They're a little too close for his comfort. He's putting a little bit more shoulder into the punches. You hear him grunting here at ringside.
But a lot of times the grunt just noise to make you think they're doing something. Most they throw the same amount of power without the grunt.
Among other things, and maybe to Wright's ultimate benefit in terms of showmanship, Hernandez is forcing him to think more offensively than ever before.
Well, to his credit, he made a change a few years ago from being a typical southpaw cutie and tried to come forward more behind those arms and gloves and be more offensive, and it's helped him. It's not helping him right here, though.
Hernandez ran right into a right jab.
Yeah, he walked into a right hand and grinned about it.
That means it hurt. You don't want to try to get cute and start acting stupid around Winky Wright. We'll take advantage of him. Solid fighter.
Stop.
When you see the guys run into one another with their shoulders and chest, that's what really take it out of you. That's what you don't really prepare for in the gym. Bumping like football players.
I got him.
Well, Wright clearly liked that round better. But this is becoming a very interesting fight.
Breathe.
This ain't puffy at all, Wimp.
Keep working.
I am.
Breathe.
I work every night.
Relax. Breathe. Think you got that?
Yeah, I get it. Doing this one just to
keep doing. Don't lay
am.
there. Let this guy get momentum when you stand still. Turn. The jab kill him. Right. The jab kill him, but turn.
Every once in a while, throw the overhead right. He's moving. He's not doing too much. But let's get him. Take a chance and go inside.
Wright's cautious streak may have gotten the best of him early in the fight. As he tested Hernandez, he opened up in this round.
CompuBox numbers in 6. Hernandez landing only 11 out of 89. Wright is given credit for 24 out of 67. It was a round in which Winky clearly wanted to reverse the tide of battle which had showed up in the previous round. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, I don't know. I like the boxer. 5-1, 59-55, Ronald Winky Wright. You know, Jim, Angel Hernandez, what he does is, when he comes in, he leans it and he grabs it just like that. He's doing an awful lot of holding. Right on the other hand, peppering him with that right jab, the straight left hand. I just think he's doing enough of that cutesy-wootsy stuff to pull this fight out. Landing the cleaner shots and not holding.
I have it 3 rounds apiece.
Wow, that's interesting. 5-1 on Letterman's card, 3 rounds apiece on Larry's card. In case you're looking for the knockout to materialize, you could be waiting a long time. Ronald Winky Wright, in his 50-fight career, 48-fight career, I should say, has 1 knockout past the 6th round. Only 1. Angel Hernandez has never knocked out anybody past the 6th round. 30 previous fights.
You can believe that Hernandez is trying to get one.
Yeah, there's always a first time, right?
Puts everything into that right hand occasion. His corners told him to throw the overhand right.
And now Hernandez complaining that Wright butted him, or thumbed him perhaps, I'm not sure. Tony Weeks gave him a moment to shake it off, and now here comes Winky again. And Winky's thinking, Hernandez is vulnerable, I'll go after him.
Come on, hands free.
Hernandez is blinking his right eye. We'll see if Wright can get off the left. There it is.
This is when you realize you got to fight. You're in the ring, no one's going to help you. The referee, judge, you got to just fight it out. Guy butts you, just got to fight it. Nothing else you can do.
Come on, stop. I got you. Let him go.
Blood coming from the region of the eye of Hernandez, but below the eye, it seems.
Hard right hand up the middle, lands for Hernandez. Heard his corner saying, come on, throw the overhand right sometimes. He got it in there. And there's a good hard shot by Winky. And there's a left hand by Hernandez. And he drops his hands as if to say, you can't hurt me. And Wright says, I'll sure try.
That's the Mayorga trick, and it didn't work. But it got the crowd on his side.
And it made Winky Wright stop fighting.
Crowd cheers for both fighters as the action heats up. Quickly now, let's take a look at the judges who have been chosen to judge tonight's championship fight between Roy Jones and Antonio Tarver. Glenn Hamada, who now lives here in the United States, veteran judge, 32 title fights, had the right card in Jones Tony, had what some people think was exactly the right card in Trinidad De La Hoya, a draw. And then Jerry Roth, one of the best-known judges in the sport, 114 title fights, had Jones winning against Ruiz, just like the other judges earlier this year, had a card that scored a draw in the very difficult-to-score second fight between Mayorga and Forrest. And here's the wild card in the bunch, much less known than the other two. Dave Harris, out of Texas, only 10 title fights. Neither Jones Hall nor Morales Espadas a real top-of-the-line fight. So this is his biggest scoring job yet tonight. Round 7 CompuBox numbers, Wright 23 out of 58. Hernandez managed to throw 85, landing 17. Another round in which Hernandez threw significantly more punches than Winky Wright, but Wright came out with a fierce display of accuracy early in the round. Now they go back to boxing as round 8 begins.
Chicago used to be the city known to train boxers to bob and weave. Make guys miss you by getting low and coming up, countering, bobbing and weaving.
Hernandez's right eye is bothering him, and Wright is taking advantage with straight left hands. He landed a big body shot that he liked. He kind of congratulated himself on it, and then went upstairs 3 straight times, and Hernandez was blinking the eye as Wright whacked him with the left hand. So it's Winky against Blinky right now.
Up.
Ouch. I don't know if I've heard a fighter say ouch before. Ooh. Hard right hand by Hernandez. Right on the button. Right on the button. Winky doesn't often walk into a big punch, but he did it there.
Partially out of disrespect for his power.
That's a good right hand. Misses, but those kind hurt on the end.
Come on, stop, I got you.
Hernandez has never given up. That's strange.
Oh, stop.
About a minute and a half ago, I was prepared to say Hernandez seemed to be winding down, and now he's winding back up.
Come on, hands-free.
Yeah, that's true. After Wright's little sustained assault, when Hernandez seemed to be having trouble with his right eye, Angel has turned it back around.
This has turned into a serious brawl.
Fun to watch. And they bump heads again as Wright steps in to fire a hard left hand. And Hernandez again lands his own right up the middle. This is another round where either fighter could win the round.
Hard round to score.
How do you feel? You feel all right? Okay, now you got to push it up, push it up. At the end of the round, he's tired, so put the pressure on him, hard, until you stop him. He won't resist you. You got to go fast.
Put him enough hands down the middle. That's coming. Throw the feint in now a little bit. When he's looking for the jab, throw the feint in. We need to buy some time.
Was there a butt again? Yes. No blood.
9 to 10.
Angel Hernandez, given credit by CompuBox for throwing 97 punches in the 8th round. Larry said he might have been winding down, then he wound right up. Winky Wright was 26 out of 65, including 16 out of 30 power shots. He's begun to target that left hand over the top and land it more than half the time. Like that. And like that.
You go to your corner, you're a guy like Hernandez, and you're bleeding, you cut, and you tie it. And what do your managers tell you? This is the life of a boxer. That's the way it is in this business.
Stop.
Suffer for your art.
Well, he said he liked it from the first minute he did it.
Sometimes you have a mini fight, but never run into one like this.
Get off,
and I think this may be the hardest test he's had in his career, Hernandez.
Well, what about Winky Wright?
Winky Wright's been in a few tough fights in his life.
He's had Fernando Vargas. He's had Harry Simon. Julio Cesar Chavez.
That right to the body hurt
by
Winky
Hernandez.
Wright.
Yep.
Come on, I got you, stop.
It hurt. He's holding on to get his wind back. Oh, he's trying to hide his side now.
Come on, hands-free.
Well, Winky has thought offensively through much of this fight, and as a result, he's been hit more frequently than is almost ever the case.
And you see Hernandez does that Chicago bobbing and weaving, keeps his head low, making you miss as he stay closer. And that's the kind of stuff you want. And that you can only find in Chicago.
All day. Stop, I got you.
The Windy City style, huh?
That's the Windy City style. get low, bob and weave, bob and weave. There's so few fighters that really come on the scene from Chicago that we've forgotten about it. Like the left hookers from Philadelphia.
Well, like another Angel, Angel Manfredi. Gary, Indiana, fought out of Chicago. Yep. His career began with the same trainer, Sam Colonna, who began Hernandez's career.
They know how to move the head. They get low.
Stop, I got you. Let him go.
Well, after taking a few of those body shots, as you pointed out, George, it looks like Wright now has decided to change his style. He's outside, right?
He's right. You better box and move. Get your wind back.
Yeah, it's not a brawl anymore.
Yeah, keep your ribs in shape.
But Hernandez is going to make it a football game if he has to. "40 minutes to go before Roy Jones and Antonio Tarver get it on. We expect them to be in the ring at around 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. In the ring. There's Tarver, watching with a serious expression on his face. And very nearby, Roy Jones beginning to dance and warm up. Observers who have been in Roy Jones's dressing room in the hour before a big fight say that it is an amazing scene. He never stops moving for the entire period of time.
Got that energy.
Talk about somebody who bristles with energy, huh?
Original hyper child.
Roy Jones, Antonio Tarver. Tarver, the holder of the light heavyweight titles for which they'll be fighting tonight. Totals in 9. Wright only threw 40 punches as he slowed his pace in that round and tried to keep some distance between himself and Hernandez. Harold, how do you have it now?
Okay, Jim. 87-84, 6 rounds to 3. Ronald Winky Wright. I just think he had a big early lead with his boxing ability, but certainly Angel Hernandez had to win rounds 8 and 9. He led to some tremendous body shots, got inside. Winky started to tire a little bit, and they just getting in and whacking him with the harder shots. Jim, incidentally, in round 7, they ruled it an accidental headbutt, which caused the cut on Angel Hernandez's right eye.
Larry, how do you have it scored?
I have it 5-4 now for Wright.
All right, so both of our scorers with Wright ahead, but both of them agreeing that the fight is within reach of Angel Hernandez, who simply won't go away.
Hold on.
Just when you think that Winky Wright is getting ready to bash Hernandez into the ropes and put some real whipping on him, Hernandez comes firing right back.
Come on, keep it
as
clean.
smart and as slick as Winky is supposed to be, you wonder how he gets into a knockdown, drag-out, toe-to-toe battle like this.
I don't think Hernandez would have allowed it to be any other way, George. I mean, this guy is just so determined, and he's willing to walk through a lot of Winky Wright shots.
But he's very tired now, Jim. He's very vulnerable.
He's still got the bravado of a Wild West gunslinger. I guess he doesn't know how tired he is.
It looks like he hit the wall and went through it.
Boxers are afraid of guys with guts, especially if they can hit hard.
This guy has guts, and he's been punching hard to the body round after round. And now Winky starts to back away.
I got you.
Hey guys, is some fight. And as the trainers here get ready for the championship rounds, the last two, 11 and 12, we take a look at the profiles for the trainers in the main event. Buddy McGirt has become one of the most celebrated trainers in the sport in the last couple of years, given credit for having helped to improve Antonio Tarver in his tour of duty with Tarver. Tarver also given enormous credit for having gotten Arturo Gatti to go back to the boxing skills that made him effective early in his career. And Alton Merkerson, of course, you've seen throughout Roy Jones's career. He is isolated to Pensacola, trains only Jones, and those fighters who come into the Jones gym, such as Cole and Gaynor. Obviously, Merkerson's mark in the sport is going to be that he carried Roy Jones through his entire career. You talked about some of those Chicago fighters, George Foreman. Harold Letterman points out Bob Satterfield, Johnny Saxton, Johnny Bratton, some of the bigger names come out of the Windy City.
They could fight.
Satterfield, a lot of good fighters didn't want any part of him. Harold Letterman gave the 10th round to Winky Wright. Although Hernandez in the 10th round was given credit by compromise for throwing 104 punches. Go ahead.
Right hand to the body again by Hernandez.
Big left and a right upstairs by Winky Wright. Perhaps the one element that separates Winky Wright from bigger names in his division is punching power. And if he had real punching power, he might have put Hernandez in more jeopardy here.
Yeah, you asked me earlier, Jim, why would Roy Jones be giving so much money above the pure market value? And I think one of the reasons is now because he has a title and he was hoping for that big jackpot fight against a De La Hoya, maybe against
Shane Mosley,
or Bernard Hopkins and so on. I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Why?
Well, he originally turned down $800,000 to fight Mosley at one point. Vernon Forrest took the fight instead and beat him, and then beat him again and made the kind of money that Wright hopes to make. So I don't know that the De La Hoya type opponent money that he dreams of will ever be there.
George, you were telling me earlier that if you had focused your decision on whether to fight Michael Moore for the heavyweight championship on the size of your purse, you'd have had to turn it down.
That's right. I had rich fights all along, but when it got down to Michael Moore, they said, we can only pay you this. I said, okay. Even got it lower, down to $1 million. I said, okay, great, I'll take it.
Sometimes you take the lost title. That's right.
You want the title.
Exactly, and that's the point. He had a chance, and in fact, Mosley had preferred to fight him rather than
to fight Vernon Forrest.
For Vernon Forrest. I mean, and he only looked at it from, well, $800,000, I can make that in 2 fights. Instead of looking at it, I can go out there and beat him and make 3 times as much for 2 fights.
And then again, he may have been afraid.
He took the accountant view of it and said, okay, I'll take the sure money rather than the risky money.
Good work. All right, let's close the show this round.
Accountants don't become superstars.
You got it.
Close the show. Box strong in the 12th round.
Fight your heart out this round.
Keep bouncing, boxing. Keep your jab working. Keep your hands up. Don't lay still inside.
Okay, this is it. The last round. You got, no friendship here. It's the last round. Throws all you got. He's tired. So you go after him now. Okay, he looks bad. So go after him.
Free. I'm good. Okay, you're good. You're looking good, baby. Come on, boxing lesson this round. Come on, boxing lesson. Use your legs. Use your legs.
12th round begins. Winky Wright against Angel Hernandez in what has been an outstanding preliminary bout, getting ready for Jones Tarver. Incidentally, those of you watching on DirecTV, it is our understanding that because of a transmission problem, you missed the entire Jermaine Taylor fight, which began the evening. Taylor, of course, the rising star of the middleweight division. We promise that after the conclusion of Jones Tarver, we will replay the entire Jermaine Taylor fight, which took place earlier this evening, Taylor against Rogelio Martinez, for those of you on DirecTV who did not get a chance to see it.
It was a good fight.
Stay tuned. You want to see Taylor in this performance. Meanwhile, you want to see who wins this one in what could be a very close fight coming to the 12th round.
The good thing that Hernandez has going for him, he's been the one, the aggressor the whole fight.
Come on, come on. Keep that hand on.
This fight, again, very much a reminder of Wright's last performance against J.C. Candello. When Candello, like Hernandez, threw a lot of punches, took as good as he gave for much of the fight. Wright's superior technicianship ultimately got him the decision. He remains the superior technician here, as you're seeing from those accurate, quick punches inside. But Hernandez isn't going to go away.
Wright is not fighting like he thinks he needs to win this round. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe it isn't.
Maybe those body punches had some effect on him.
On the other hand, Hernandez doesn't seem to have a lot left with which to test Wright, even as Wright seemed to try to coast part of the round.
Hernandez will get to the finish line of this fight having given every ounce of blood and sweat in him.
It might be the 5th loss of his 31-fight career, but it's a performance which will make a lot of fans for the previously unknown Angel Hernandez, as willing a fighter as we've seen in a while.
I got you.
Well, Wright was a prophet when he said, he's going to keep coming at me like a little bull.
The aptly named Toro.
You got it.
Oh, a left hook that shakes Winky Wright. Right.
And a barrage of punches in return from Wright. But once again, this is not an easy fight to score. And this is not the world's most experienced judging staff, although they are certainly highly qualified.
I thought the tired Hernandez won that last round simply by out-hustling Wright, who apparently thought he has done enough in this fight to get the decision.
This is going to be fascinating. I'm not sure what's coming here.
Raven Road, let's do it, baby.
Harold, how'd you have it through 12?
Okay, Jim. 116, 112, 8 rounds to 4, Ronald Winky Wright. I thought Angel Hernandez finished the fight pretty strong. I gave him rounds 8, 9, and 12, where he got inside, did some damage with the harder shots, but all in all, I thought Winky just outboxed him. Angel looked tired down the end. To tell you the truth, he would come in with his head first. There's a lot of headbutting going on. I thought Angel grabbed too much, and Winky outboxed him.
Hernandez threw 105 punches in the 12th round. Now, they weren't pretty. It wasn't exactly Ray Leonard on balance firing beautiful combinations, but he got off 105 shots.
I had Wright ahead by 7 rounds to 5.
Everybody home watching DC. Everybody locked down. Everybody.
As they tabulate the scores, we'll tell you who the judges are. As I mentioned, 2 of them are women. Adelaide Bird from the United States scored the Marquez-Austin fight 67-65 through 7 in favor of Marquez. He knocked Austin out. Chuck Jump of the United States, veteran judge, well known here in Las Vegas, scored Barrera the winner of the Barrera-Morales 2 fight, and Barrera got the decision in that fight, although many ringside observers felt as though Morales should have won that one. Barrera-Morales fights were very difficult to score. Valerie Dorsett from Washington, D.C., and she scored Louis Rockman 1, 39-7. 37 Lewis through 4, made the long trip to South Africa with the rest of us for that one. Looks like Michael Buffer is holding the scorecards. And if he's ready, let's end the suspense. Michael Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds, we go to the scorecards here at the Mandalay Bay. Valerie Dorsett scores this contest 119 to 109. Adelaide Bird has it 118 to 110. And Chuck Jampa scores it 117 to 111, all for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the IBF Junior Middleweight Champion of the World, Winky Wright.
Okay. Not as close as we thought. And at the end of the day, total agreement among the three judges. So Winky Wright gets another victory. Not at all out of character with many of the victories in his career, but a little rougher. Rougher because, as the CompuBox numbers will show you, Angel Hernandez is one of those guys. Threw over 1,000 punches in the fight. Didn't land a lot of them, but kept on coming. Winky Wright, superior technicianship, as we mentioned, 253 out of 768 for 33%.
Winky Wright's a good fighter. But it doesn't seem to me that he didn't make any big case for himself to make a jackpot against one of the named fighters in his division or above that.
You agree, George?
You know, what I really agree is that Bobby Hitz from Chicago has been bringing to town some tough fighters. He's going to start being scouted a little bit more, because these fighters are almost taking you out of your fights now.
Absolutely.
One after another. Bobby Hitz in Chicago. Ernie Terrell, too, from Chicago, I forgot to mention.
Oh, yes. And Ernie Terrell was tall. I think he was about 6'6", wasn't he?
He didn't have to bob and weave.
James Brown is 6'6". So let's go to James Brown, who also doesn't have to bob and weave.
Oops. All right, Jim, thank you so very much. And Hernandez told us all that he respected Winky's technical abilities, but not his strength. That was abundantly evident as he maintained his bulldog style, although